Good morning. Reed here, conductor at Orchestra Farm. Back at the farm before a day of work. And, oh yeah, some rhubarb over there. Can you see it kind of buried in this bit of hay? I got this giant chunk for like 15 bucks at one of our local food places. I was like, score. Anyway, I gotta get that in the ground. But one of the things I'm thinking about today, as I'm checking out the farm, is performing. So you might have seen I've got a couple videos up for my last music night that I'm doing on a monthly basis, and you may have also seen some paintings that I'm working on a regular basis. And my thought to myself was like, oh, it's been such a long time since I've done a show or an exhibit of my creative self, and I should really do that again. So I was like, okay, well, there's some space in November for that to happen. Checking out the strap here. Curious to see how all these little guys are doing. Some of them are doing pretty good. We replanted them in the center row here. There was like, most of them were there, and I dug them all out so I could retill this, put it back together. Another 25 plus strawberries plant. But so I'm thinking about this potential of doing a show in November. Oh wow. And the wind must have been really doing its thing out here. And with that, the ponderance of, what am I going to offer people in that space and setting? And over the weekend I had the joy of going to a friend's birthday party, and one of the things that was asked there was for stories or songs and things like that to be offered as like a gift. And I looked through my paintings and I was like, oh, I don't really see any that are calling out to be given. And so I was like, well, I'll grab my clarinet. I gotta do something about that. And offer a little performative piece. Now, I really used play as an operative word around my playing of instruments, and see that it takes on usually, oh yeah, that Rubin good, that's the oldest one here, and really see it as kind of entering into almost like an altered state. I think some storytellers can relate when they're telling a story about how that can function. And this ponderance of, oh geez, I think that this might be something I need to offer, this November performance as a solo thing like this, on the basis of every time I play with others or perform with others, I'm hoping to utilize some of the people who have been playing with me on my music night to come out and play. And Sid, if you're watching this, this greenhouse here needs a big time weeding happening in it before it gets planted up. Things to do. And so I was like, oh, this is a whole extra side of myself. I've already got like a poetry book that I'm gonna have present for people, some of my recorded music, which is like another completely different vein of music, this performance with a group of people, which is another vein of performance, and then ideally these paintings will be up and being shown too, available for purchase. Trying to make some money to fund the artistic paths. I think it's great when your hobbies can fund themselves. And when I thought after performing at my friend's birthday party, happy birthday Fox by the way, I was like, oh, I should do this as well. And the thought of that actually really struck me from a place of like challenge and difficulty. And I performed a bunch by myself over the years. It's been over a decade since I've done that again. But the struggle with it seemed to come from this place of like, each different performance needs something of a different costume or clothing to be worn, because they bring out these different aspects of myself, or aspects of archetypes and things. And to denote these different spaces of being, to have these different outfits will allow the audience to recognize, like, oh yeah, there's a real transition happening here between these different modes of being and such. And the idea of, like, because of my radical nature, these performances tend to be really different than what most people have experienced with things, unless you've gone to a lot of fringe festival stuff or have other friends who work between the realms of hyperdimensional being and or transdimensional being, or we all carry so much depending on if you get into those realms or not. And the sense of just like, oh, I need to finish this outfit that I worked on for a past performance, and then just kind of put it down because it takes so long to create some of these things, and recognizing just the time commitment that it takes to put these things together, it can be a bit much. And so, in sitting with that, I also know that, like, it's a great idea to, like, be one's whole self and to really put yourself out there, to risk everything, as it were, and don't worry about being judged by people. Intermixed with, these things are totally different than what I do to earn my livelihood, and the notion of, if you don't put them out there, how are you ever going to just have them taking care of yourself and your life, intermixed with how will you eventually be known, and to really be known is to put oneself out there. And so just that notion of, like, okay, I actually do need to do this, I need to be vulnerable in that way and allow myself to be witnessed in this, and that's unnerving. But it's good to embrace the unnervingness at times and just move through it. So I'm curious, what's unnerving in your life? What's your next threshold of putting yourself out there that's going to take your own existence to its next level of being? Love it if you share those in the comments below. And if you could also click the subscribe button to this channel, that would be super great. Or the follow button if you're seeing this on some social media thing. I'd love to hear what's going on in your own lives. If there's anything of interest and intrigue, all about that. With that, I hope you all have way too much fun today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a couple days.